The Broads, with its unique landscape of waterways cutting through reed and sedge, punctuated by windmills, is well worth protecting. Like much of our rural landscape, this scenery has been dictated by human influence, from the cutting of the peat beds which made the original waterways to the commercial growing of reed and sedge. If this area is to thrive and remain a place where millions of people come to visit, then it must be managed sustainably so it can be handed on to the next generation.
One of the things we've been doing is putting in place a series of overriding strategies and policies to guide the work of the authority, and using that also as a vehicle to make the argument to the government that we need more resources to manage this very special place. The Broads aren't a natural landscape, so they're the result of medieval peat digging. But that almost reinforces the point that they need management. If you don't manage them, they'll degrade, they'll disappear. And therefore, for both their wildlife value, but also for their use by people, they need looking after.
In 2006, the Heritage Lottery Fund awarded the Broads Authority £714,000 to set up a bursary to meet specific skills shortages. The Millwrights course is a 3-year, 1 intake programme taking 5 people from start to finish. The 5 arrived with different skills ranging from engineering to construction to conservation. Not every mill is the same, each has its own different character. And with so many mills in need of repair across the Norfolk Broads, there's plenty of work to be done. The 5 bursars built up relationships with individual mills and treated them with great respect. They are a credit to the success of the recruitment programme.
There's no one with us all the time. There's no one person as our foreman. So we divide the work equally between the 5 of us. And what we'll do is in the morning we'll all sit down to discuss the work, and we'll sign down that we're all happy with the risk assessment and the method statement, and one of us will then take on the foreman's job for the day or the week, however we're doing it, which will then divide equally between the 5 of us.
Tightly knit, sort of, there's 5 people's enough people so you can go into squads of 2 or 3 if you need to, sort of thing, but it's not so many that you never see people from one year end to the next, you know. So it's been, yeah, a really good number, and 5 well chosen people, I think. Yeah.
I think we get on very well with the team because we're all bringing something different to the table. I think working with myself as a carpenter joiner, Paul as an engineer, Luke as a bricklayer, Steve as a painter decorator, and Pete coming at it from a groundwork and conservation side. I think we all learn from each other very well, and we all have our own different specialist skills, but I think we all have an ability to go to somebody when we don't know what we're doing and say, I need your help on this. So I think as a team we work very closely, and we sort of combine our skills very well to achieve our goals.
I want to learn as much as I can about the mill side of everything, how you build the cats, how the sails work, everything like that. And we have built the cap at Hardley, but that was like halfway through, and this time we're going to start from right at the beginning.
Well, hopefully it will give me enough training to go self-employed being a millwright, which hopefully I can then do for the rest of my life. Hopefully, that's the plan.
I trained as a carpenter, and I was working in general carpentry, doing kitchen fitting and general first fix, second fix carpentry. I was really interested to get into the heritage side of things, and this was sort of a foot in the door for me as far as getting into restoration and conservation building.
I've been a millwright for just over 31 years now. Well, we go all different parts of the country because our firm at one time, before my time when my father was working here, we were the only millwrights left in the country. If this scheme hadn't been set up, there certainly wouldn't have been 5 young men extra learning how to repair and maintain windmills and water guns.
So we can either drop this cable all the way down and bring it back up again,
yeah,
or Jake's going to try and
which is
climb up and click it off. Jake's climbing up now, so.
Yeah, things are going fairly well by 9:30. I had one on the ground, now rigging the second one up to get that down, so hopefully at the end of the day all 4 will be on the ground ready for assessment to whether they can be repaired or whether any of them need actually replacing.
That's a struggle.
Bars snapped.
Bar snapped here, it's right, there's a hole in it.
The credibility of this scheme is down to the organisations who signed up to it. Key partners had to come on board to make this bursary a success. Each organisation had a different idea about commerce and conservation, so the Broads Authority had to draw up a plan which all partners embraced enthusiastically.
We have something like 21 mills that we care for, 20 of which of course are in the Broads. And so we've always worked closely with a Broads wind pump funding programme with the Broads Authority. You need to have that sort of money to train people because, well, whereas we might be able to afford to pay for the work that they're doing, we really couldn't, well, we haven't got the funds, and I don't think anyone else involved in windmills has got the funds to actually do the training when, you know, you're not going to get any return. We have really been very short of finding people who know what mills do and what they need to have done to them to preserve them. So we think that there will be every opportunity if they set themselves up when the bursary scheme is finished to give them employment.
I think there's an enormous power in collaborative working, and not just purely in education, but in terms of addressing issues locally that we're trying to address. And in our case, it goes broader than just pure education. Working with the Broads Authority, that isn't just going to be about training people, it's going to be about helping them run a small business themselves, if necessary coming up with capital support arrangements, and working very much more on economic development than just learning. And I think it's quite dangerous to try and get into too small a silo with these particular things. It's about providing the skills and the wherewithal for people to achieve what the maximum they can, particularly where it then benefits our local industries and community.
One of the key things about land-based industries is that they are multifaceted. There's more than one job to do. Actually, yes, you do become a warden and you have a lot of key tasks to carry out within that particular role. It's actually something that attracts people into the industries because it makes the jobs very interesting as well as being very fulfilling, which, let's just say there are some jobs out there these days which aren't as good as that. So we do have a need for this. We can find the people to do it, and there are some jobs out there for them when they're finished. I think what it's recognised is that it's a very specialist field, so it's difficult to get mainstream funding for it. And if this first project is to be of any real worth, actually some more funding for maybe a 5-year plan would be far better, so we can train a key number of people who can maintain parts of this industry over quite a few years in the future.
Put it right.
The experience of delivering the Heritage Lottery-funded bursary means the Broads Authority is in a prime position to deliver new projects. The management and partnership structures which have already been set up can easily be expanded to provide wider and more sustainable projects. This means the Broads Authority will be able to achieve its vision for the landscape, the local economy and local communities. Not a bad thing in these uncertain times.